Imagine two friends, Leo and Maya, sitting in a quiet cafe. The air is filled with the smell of coffee and the soft hum of conversation, but their own conversation is anything but soft. They are deep in a heated discussion, a debate that has echoed through the ages. Do we truly need a guru to guide us on our spiritual journey? Leo, ever the independent spirit, believes that the path to enlightenment is a personal one. He feels that all the wisdom we need is already inside us. We just need to listen to our inner voice, he says. For him, relying on a teacher feels like giving away our power, our own ability to discover the truth for ourselves. Maya, however, sees it differently. She listens patiently, her hands wrapped around a warm mug. For her, the spiritual path is like a vast, uncharted wilderness. It is beautiful, yes, but it is also filled with hidden pitfalls and confusing trails. She argues that a guru is like an experienced guide, someone who has walked the path before us. This guide knows where the dangers lie and can point us toward the safest and most direct route. A guru, she explains, doesn't take away our power. Instead, they help us unlock the power that is already within us, showing us how to use it wisely and effectively. The conversation grows more intense. Leo speaks of self-reliance, of the strength that comes from forging your own way. He mentions great thinkers and innovators who trusted their own intuition and changed the world. He believes that blindly following someone else can lead us astray, making us dependent rather than free. Why, he asks, should we place our faith in another person when the universe has given us a mind to think and a heart to feel? He feels that the journey is about the process of discovery, including the mistakes we make along the way. These mistakes, he insists, are our greatest teachers. Maya counters with stories of her own. She talks about legendary musicians who learned from masters, of brilliant scientists who stood on the shoulders of giants. In any other field, she points out, we seek out teachers and mentors. We go to school to learn from experts. We hire coaches to improve our skills. Why should our spiritual growth be any different? She believes that a true guru doesn't ask for blind faith. Instead, they provide the tools, the techniques, and the perspective that we might never find on our own. They help us see our own blind spots, the parts of ourselves we are unable to see. Their debate, full of passion and conviction, eventually reaches the ears of a wise teacher who lives nearby. This teacher is known not for loud proclamations, but for his quiet presence and deep understanding. He often says that wisdom doesn't shout, it whispers. Hearing about the friends' disagreement, he invites them to his simple home, a place filled with peace and tranquility. He doesn't take sides. He doesn't declare one right and the other wrong. Instead, he listens. He listens with his full attention, allowing both Leo and Maya to feel heard and respected. He understands that their argument isn't just about a concept, it's about their own personal journeys. The teacher then speaks, his voice calm and gentle. He explains that such arguments often come from a place we all know well, the ego. The ego is that part of us that wants to be right. It's the voice in our head that says, my way is the only way. When the ego takes over, we stop listening to understand and start listening only to reply. We become attached to our own opinions, defending them like a fortress. This attachment creates separation. It builds a wall between us and others, and it blocks us from seeing a larger truth. The ego thrives on conflict and division, making us feel that we must win the argument to protect our identity. He asks them to consider their feelings during the debate. Did they feel open and connected, or did they feel tense and defensive? He gently points out that the goal of a spiritual discussion should be to expand our understanding, not to prove a point. When we are attached to being right, we close ourselves off to new possibilities. We miss the chance to learn something new, to see the world from another perspective. The ego convinces us that our current knowledge is complete, that we have nothing left to learn. But true wisdom, the teacher explains, begins with the recognition of how much we don't know. The teacher encourages them to look beyond their fixed positions. He suggests that the very question of guru or no guru might be a trick of the ego. It creates a false choice, a division where one might not need to exist. What if, he proposes, the path isn't about choosing one or the other? What if it's about finding the right support for our unique journey at the right time? He doesn't give them a direct answer. Instead, he offers them a story, a simple parable, to help them find their own understanding. His goal is not to give them the answer, but to help them discover it for themselves. The teacher begins his story. Imagine, he says, that your goal is to reach the summit of a great towering mountain. This summit represents the peace, the truth, and the self-realization you both seek. There are many paths up this mountain. Some are rocky and steep, while others are gentle and winding. Leo, you believe in climbing this mountain alone. You have a map, a compass, and a strong will. You are determined to find your own way to the top, learning from every stumble and every wrong turn. This is a noble path, one that builds incredible strength and resilience. You will know the mountain intimately. However, the teacher continues, turning his kind gaze to Leo, the map you have is ancient and some parts are hard to read. You might spend years wandering down a path that leads to a dead end. You might mistake a lower peak for the true summit and stop climbing thinking you have arrived. You might even fall into a hidden crevasse that you couldn't see on your map. Your self-reliance is a powerful tool, but without the benefit of experience, the journey can be much longer and more perilous than it needs to be. You have the desire to reach the top, but you might not have the knowledge of the most efficient and safest route. He then turns to Maya. You, on the other hand, believe in hiring a guide, a guru. This guide has climbed the mountain hundreds of times. They know every rock, every stream, and every shortcut. They know where the trail becomes dangerous, and when the weather is about to turn, the guide doesn't carry you up the mountain. You still have to do the climbing, you still have to put in the effort and take every single step yourself. But the guide walks with you, offering encouragement, pointing out the way, and ensuring you don't get lost. They help you avoid the common mistakes that many other climbers make. The guide's job, the teacher concludes, is not to make you dependent on them forever. A good guide's ultimate goal is to teach you how to read the mountain for yourself. They share their wisdom so that one day you will be able to navigate any terrain with confidence. They help you reach the summit, and from that high vantage point, you can finally see the entire landscape clearly for yourself. The guru is not the destination. The guru is the one who helps you see the path to the destination more clearly, saving you from unnecessary struggle and helping you reach your goal with greater focus and grace. As the teacher's story ends, a quiet understanding settles over the room. Leo and Maya look at each other, the tension from their debate now gone. They realize they weren't really arguing about different goals, but about different ways of seeing the journey. The teacher's parable helped them see beyond their own limited perspectives. Leo understood that self-reliance is important, but that humility, the willingness to accept help, is also a strength. Maya understood that a guru is not a crutch, but a resource that empowers the student to walk their own path with more confidence and clarity. The true journey, they both came to see, is a journey inward. And on this inner journey, the greatest obstacles are often our own ego and pride. It takes humility to admit that we don't have all the answers. It takes faith to trust in a process and in a guide who has gone before us. This faith is not blind. It is a conscious choice to be open to wisdom from sources outside of ourselves. It is about trusting that the guidance we receive is meant to help us grow, to help us become the best version of ourselves. True learning requires us to be humble enough to become a student. Patience is the third essential quality for this journey. Spiritual growth doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow and steady process, like the climbing of the mountain in the teacher's story. There will be times when we feel lost or discouraged, when the summit seems impossibly far away. This is when patience becomes our anchor. It is the quiet trust that with each step, no matter how small, we are moving forward. A guide or guru can remind us to be patient with ourselves and to trust the timing of our journey, offering support when our own patience wears thin. In the end, the path to enlightenment is deeply personal, but it doesn't have to be a lonely one. Whether we call them a guru, a teacher, a mentor, or a guide, having someone to illuminate the path can be an invaluable gift. It allows us to navigate the challenges with more grace and to keep our eyes fixed on the ultimate goal. The most important thing is to approach the journey with an open heart, a humble mind, and the unwavering faith that with patience and sincere effort, we will all reach our summit. The discussion is not about being right, but about finding what is right for our own journey.